and she began her spiritual journey in 1981 when she joined the temple. She lived and served in the temple for 16 years, offering her heart and hands in humble service. Later, she moved to Switzerland, where she continued her devotional practice and service to the temple community. Throughout the years, Radhika Mataji has quietly and steadily carried out her duties with unwavering devotion. Whether it was deity worship, cooking, cleaning, organising or teaching, she has done it all. Often behind the scenes, never seeking recognition, always with a heart full of love for the Lord and his devotees. In a beautiful demonstration of selflessness, Radhika Mataji graciously stepped back from her personal services to fully support the mission and travels of her husband, Madhava Prabhu. For the past 15 years, she has been travelling full-time alongside him, serving as a constant source of strength and support in his dynamic service to the Holy Name. Her sacrifice and dedication have been instrumental in their shared mission, which has touched countless hearts around the world. Radhika Mataji's life is a powerful reminder that spiritual progress is not only reflected in visible service, but also in quiet, humble sacrifices made with love, devotion and faith. We offer our heartfelt gratitude and deep respect to Radhika Mataji for her inspiring example of devotion and surrender. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Guru. Sorry?
What verse have you chosen?
12:9. Hare Krishna, everybody. So, welcome to the Sunday Feast lecture. Could you please move a little bit forward, this big empty space? And thank you very much, Prabhu, for introducing me. I wish it was all true. Maybe one day, with blessings of the devotees. Thank you. Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate 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 Vasudevaya.
So reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, verse 9. So everybody will recite together? I'll read the line meanwhile. Attachitam samadatum na saknoshi maishtiram abhyasa yogina tato mam ichaptum dhananjaya attachitam samadatum na shaknoshi maishtiram abhyasa yogina tato mam ichaptum dhananjaya attachitam samadatum na shaknoshi maishtiram abhyasa yogina tato mam ichaptum dhananjaya. Somebody care to read? Do you have people reading?
Yeah,
Or?
we do. Anyone want to read?
Yeah. One of the Mataji's. Anybody?
Attachitam samadatum
Attachitam samadatum
nasaknosi mayi sthiram
Nasaknosi maishtriyam
abhyasa yogena tato
abhyasa yogena tato
mam ichaptum dhananjaya.
Atha, if,
therefore,
chittam, mind, samadatum, to fix, na, not, shaknoshi, you are able, mai, upon me, shtiram, steadily, abhyasa yogena, by the practice of devotional service, tataha, then, ma, me, itcha, desire, up to, get, dhananjaya, O winner of wealth, Arjuna. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain me. So the purport is quite long, and I was thinking, as we read the purport, we try to comment on it. Otherwise, shh, please, you have to talk. There's a whole world outside the temple. When we're in the temple, we try to respect the space. It's a sacred space. We made an effort to come here, so we try to respect that the deities are present. They are not stone. Prabhupada says there's Galagraha and Shivigraha. Galagraha is stone. So we can do whatever we want in front of the deities. And Prabhupada says he will not protest. He will not protest. But in that same lecture he says, because the deities is Shivigraha, meaning is not different from Krishna. So if we take him as stone, he will react with us as stone. But Prabhupada says, our lives will be finished. So when we are in a space, where there's a temple, where there are deities, where there are Vaishnavas, we try to respect it. And we have children who make noises. We take them outside. When they calm down, and they can come back in. So thank you. So before starting to read the purport, I will offer my obeisances to my Gurudev. Nama Om Vishwaya Krishna Krishna Buddhaya Shrimati Tama Krishna Goswami Niti Namne. Nama Om Vishwaya Krishna Krishna Buddhaya Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namne. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurāni Vishwayini Devi Shishya Srinavai Pashkacharya Shantarini. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Yanati Nindya Kena Shalakya Chakshana Jamina. Isme Shri Guru Ham Kukati Basan. Om Namaste Yakpa Mahamman Deshi Domina. Vancha Prabhu Teresa Vikasura Shapatam. Vaishali Guru. By the mercy of Hari Guru and Vaishnava, hopefully something meaningful will manifest. So the translation we already read, the purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. In this verse, I'll repeat the verse again. My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain. In this verse, two different processes of Bhakti Yoga are indicated. The first applies to one who has actually developed an attachment for Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by transcendental love. So this first part of the purport is very important. Prabhupada says the Acharya doesn't speak meaningless words. They speak words that have meaning. So when he says there are two different processes that are being explained in this verse. The first one applies to one who already has attachment for Krishna. What does that mean? It means someone who already knows Krishna. Now maybe some of us, because we are born in a Hindu culture, we think we know Krishna. We think we know everything. And one of the things that we think we know is, shh, please in the temple room, could we keep silence, please? One of the things that we think we know is Hindu religion has many gods. See the phrase that Prabhupada uses, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In one lecture he says, not Krishna, the Supreme God, no. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because he's the head of all gods. And when we actually understand Shastra, we understand there are many demigods who are like managers of the universe, but there's only one God. Ete chamsha kalakumsho, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a series of verses that describe different incarnations. Can we please keep the child quiet? To understand Shastra is not easy, especially in the Kali Yuga. And distractions don't make it easy. Thank you. Thank you. So there's a series of verses that describe different incarnations and partial incarnations of Godhead. But then this verse, all these that have been described, they are part of incarnations or incarnations, but Krishna's to Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna, you are the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. We also know that Brahma is the first created being. So when he came out of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, he's sitting on the lotus, he hears tapa, he knows he has to do tapasya, so he starts to do tapasya, austerities, And one of the things that first thing that manifests in his vision, in his mind's eyes, is the vision of the spiritual world. And that's where we get the Brahma Samhita. Each verse ends with Govinda Adipurusha Tamaham Bhajami. Govinda, you are the original person. I offer you my respectful obeisances. So that's one of the first things that we need to understand. Bhakti is only possible with Krishna. With anybody else, what we do is a business arrangement. I will do this yagya, I will give you that, whatever, I will feed the poor, I will dig water fountains, plant trees, whatever, but give me something else. With Krishna, it does not work like that. It never worked like that. We just have to see the history, even Mahabharata. His dearest devotees are the ones who suffered the most. Because with Krishna, there is no plan. We do not understand how Krishna actually, when he takes charge of our lives, how he guides our lives. We cannot have it, we do not have any idea how he does that. But with Krishna, we can have a relationship, an actual, real, palpable relationship based on love, based on emotions. And that's what Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by transcendental love. So the first, when Krishna is saying, if you cannot think of me without deviation, so Krishna is telling Arjuna, if you cannot think of me without deviation, then follow the rules of Bhakti Yoga. So Prabhupada is saying he's talking to two different people here. The first kind is the one who actually knows Krishna to some extent, like Arjuna. Arjuna already knows Krishna. Krishna is his friend. Krishna has agreed to be his charioteer. Do you know what a charioteer implies? In the bygone ages, there would be the chariot. The charioteer sits below, and the chariot and the bowman, the warrior, is on a platform above. So which means the head of the charioteer is almost level with the platform, with the feet of the bowman. Which makes sense, otherwise when the enemy will shoot arrows, he will kill the charioteer. The charioteer has to be below. And so when the charioteer is driving the horses in the battlefield, the bowman has to give him instructions. Go straight, go right, go left. He cannot shout those instructions because the battlefield is very, very noisy. And secondly, you don't want the enemy to know your plans. So there's sign language. So it is said in the Mahabharata, so what Arjuna would do, if he wanted to go left or right, he would touch Krishna's ear with his foot. Left ear, right ear, like that. Go left, go right. It's an insane relationship based on very deep emotions, pure love. It is possible, and we surrender everything when we take us out of the equation. So that's what Prabhupada is writing in the purport. So that's the first category of devotee, of who wants to have a relationship with Krishna. That kind of devotee already knows Krishna to some extent. Or even we would say, those devotees who joined the temple during Prabhupada's time, they were teenagers, lots of them, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, not much older. And they would be 6 months in a Hare Krishna temple, and they would go to other countries and open a temple. Prabhupada would say, go open a temple in Germany, go open a temple in England, go to France, go to Italy, go to Australia, We're all sitting here today because of those devotees. So after practicing for 40, 50 years or more, there is a certain emotion for Krishna. Otherwise we don't stay. There is no need to stay. There has to be some reciprocation of emotion from Krishna. So this verse is addressed to those who already know Krishna to some extent. And Krishna is saying, for you guys, also, just focus your mind on me without deviation. We have to understand that, very important. Without deviation. He's a very, very demanding personality. Very demanding personality. We don't have experience of that in this physically created world. Can you imagine, you get married to someone and the person says, you focus your mind on me without deviation. You will say, we need to see a psychiatrist, I think. Because this is not normal. So, Krishna wants this from us. Ekeha Kuru Nandana. Focus on him. So that's the first kind of person of devotee is talking about. Now, Prabhupada, I'll continue the purport. And for the other kind of devotee is for one who has not developed an attachment for the Supreme Person by transcendental love. But the first one has developed attachment for Krishna because of love. I would think we all can agree, in our case, we don't really have transcendental love. For this second class, there are different prescribed rules and regulations one can follow to be ultimately elevated to the stage of attachment to Krishna. So what are we talking about here? What are these rules and regulations one can follow? So that second part, he's talking about us. We do not really have attachment for Krishna. Prabhupada in one lecture, he says, we should try to know Krishna. We should try to get to know Krishna. And we get to know Krishna by reading about Krishna himself when he talks about himself. Like now, Bhagavad Gita. He's talking about himself. He's not talking about his gopis, his gopi friends, his gopa friends, his relationship with his mother or father. He's not. This comes later. These are intimate details. We have to be qualified to even enter there. Right now he's talking about who he is. So Prabhupada says we should try to get to know Krishna. And at the end, he says, if we are fortunate, meaning if we get to know him a little bit, then what happens? What do you think happens? Anybody would care to say? At the end, we try to get to know Krishna by reading Bhagavad Gita. Then, we get to know him a little bit. Then if we are fortunate, Prabhupada says something very specific. What do you think? Yes? Krishna reveals himself. Anybody else would say? Something else? What do you think happens?
Krishna enters in the heart.
Yeah, we wish. We wish Krishna reveals himself. We wish Krishna enters the heart. No. Prabhupada says, at the end, if we are fortunate, then we surrender. To see from which level surrender starts. It doesn't start from what we are doing here. It starts from the level of knowing someone. Why would you want to love, to surrender to someone you don't know? It doesn't make sense. Why do you want to love someone you don't know? It doesn't make sense. So that's why we try to know Krishna. It's very, very different levels. Now the other question is, do we really want that? Or do we just want a comfortable life? Most of us sitting here are from Hindu background. We like this nice job, good house, good family, couple of cars. comfortable life. Nothing rocks the boat too much, isn't it? It's what you like. But then birth, again and again and again and again. You have to understand, you have to know, is that what you want? Because if you decide to surrender to Krishna, he is going to rock the boat terribly. He doesn't let us see Subhadra. We have Jagannath Baladev Subhadra here, right? Who is Subhadra? Krishna's sister. Who is Subhadra's son? Married to Arjuna, right? Do you remember how Abhimanyu was killed? He entered the Chaturvyuha. He could not get out. He was the only one who entered. And he was decimating the enemy. And nobody could kill him. So 7 Maharatis came around him. While he's not looking, they are killing his horses. They are killing his charioteer. They cut the string of his bow. They are shattering the wheels of his chariot. And finally, all together, they are attacking him, which is against the rules of warfare. Finally, the son of Dushashan comes with a mace from behind and whacks him over the head with his mace, and he falls down dead. That's a direct nephew of Krishna. Do we understand his pastimes? How can you allow that? His own sister. How can you allow that? Who is Bhishma? One of the Mahajans. One of the authorities on bhakti. Do you remember how he was killed? Shikandi was in front of Arjuna, and Krishna said, go behind him. Because as soon as Bhishma sees a woman, or somebody who looks like a woman, they will put his weapons down. From behind him, Arjuna is releasing his arrows. So much so that Bhishma's body becomes filled with arrows. When he falls, his body doesn't touch the ground, because it's so full of arrows. So by deceit, he's being killed. Can you please tell us?
Phones on silent, please.
So it's to understand Krishna, we can try. So what do we try? We actually try to get to know Krishna because we want to love him. It comes down to that. It's a decision that we make. That is not easy, because then we have to decide to surrender our lives to him, for him to do whatever he wants. Are we ready to do that? Probably most of us know. Most of us know. So maybe it will take a few lifetimes. Maybe it's okay. It depends on what do you want. But the beginning, at least we can start with the beginning. Otherwise, we will go on lifetime after lifetime after lifetime in this world of Janma, Mritu, Jara, Vyadi. There is no stopping. At all, there's no stopping. There's no stopping birth, death, old age, and disease. And it's suffering. All 4 of them are called sufferings. There's no stopping of that. So I'll continue the purport. Bhakti Yoga is the purification of the senses. Bhakti Yoga means, Bhakti we all know means devotion. Yoga means connecting, to link up. So when we come, suppose we're coming to the temple right now, we understand chanting Hare Krishna is one of the limbs of Bhakti. But do we also understand what Prabhupada told us? Chanting Hare Krishna is a prayer. What is the prayer? Oh my Lord, please engage me in your devotional service. So if we actually want to develop feelings for Krishna, We need to serve Him manually. We need to do menial service. We come here, we see there's some dirt, something has fallen on the temple room floor. We just pick it up, we go and throw it away. We see something needs tending, the garden, kitchen needs cleaning, pots need cleaning, whatever. We ask for service. That's when we start to actually have a relationship. I have nothing to gain from it. Nothing. There's no money to be had, no recognition to be had, no name and fame to be had, except I would like to have a relationship with Krishna. This is all his grounds. He says, one should clean the temple because it is my home. He says that in one of the purports of the 10th canto. So if we actually do want, Prabhupada says in this very lifetime we can see Krishna face to face. It is possible. But see, the first step is always us. Don't think it's going to come from anybody else. Just like, not even from the Guru. Just like the Guru cannot eat for us, he also cannot decide our devotional service for us. We have to want it. It's a desire, it's a real desire. Once the desire is there, then I look for something to do. Quietly, whatever, anything. Make garlands, make the vases, clean the deity brass, really clean the temple, clean the pictures, the glass, whatever, anything I look to do, because it's my service to Krishna. And we need, like Prabhupada is saying, Bhakti Yoga is purification of the senses, because we need our senses to serve. We do not serve without senses, because through senses we get reciprocation, we get pleasure through the senses. But when the senses are translated to this material body, which is born, it's going to deteriorate, it's temporary, then there is suffering. When the senses are engaged in any spiritual activities, there is also pleasure. So we need our senses to be purified so that we can have a relationship with Krishna, whatever it may be. And also something that we understand, because we're individuals, for each one of us, our relationship with Krishna will be individual and unique. No two persons will have the same relationship with Krishna. It's not possible, because we are unique. Keep reading the purport. At the present moment, in material existence, the senses are always impure, being engaged in sense gratification. But by the practice of Bhakti Yoga, these senses can become purified, and in the purified state, they come directly in contact with the Supreme Lord. There's this verse, Adash Krishna Namadi Nabhave Karam Indriye. With these material senses that we have, we cannot worship the Lord. We cannot have access to, we cannot touch Krishna. For instance, we go to bathe the deities. With those material senses, we actually cannot touch Krishna. But it is easily done. How? Sevan mukhe hi jivado. It starts, the seva starts with the mouth and the tongue. By eating Krishna Prasadam and by chanting Hare Krishna. By chanting bhajans, by chanting Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Shastras. That's how the seva starts. Keep reading. In this material existence, I may be engaged in some service to some master, but I don't really lovingly serve my master. I simply serve to get some money. And the master also is not in love. He takes service from me and pays me. I think we all know that, especially if we are working. Nobody is loving anybody there. We're just offering service and getting paid. So there's no question of love. But for spiritual life, one must be elevated to the pure stage of love. That is said again, pure stage of love. Pure stage of love means I take myself out of the equation. It's a very, very hard thing to do, because for countless of lifetimes, I have put I, me, and mine in the center. With Krishna, we are trying our best to remove I, me, and mine from the center. That's a practice. It's a very tough practice. We are all born proud and arrogant. We are all born thinking, believing what we think. We all do. We are all born like that. But to start to practice humility, it's not an easy thing. And these are qualities of the devotees. Krishna says humility, pridelessness. Very, very, very hard to achieve. It's a practice. Maybe it's possible in one lifetime, but maybe it will take a few lifetimes. Once we start, it doesn't matter. Let us continue. So, by doing devotional service with devotees, it's a practice where a lot of times our ego gets challenged. I joined the temple. I lived in the temple for 16 years with brahmacharinis in the beginning, and you don't have a space. You don't even have a bed sometimes, and you cannot be sick. You gotta get up for Mangalarti. You gotta do service, whether you want it or not. And you are together with people who maybe you would never meet socially if you hadn't lived in a temple. So all these things we learn, we tolerate, we accept, we surrender. So being with devotees, it's a way to practice, and to practice actually letting go of the ego. It's very, I would say, it would be a good thing that we do service together, like that our ego. It's a good thing, because I mean, if we keep our ego is what makes us take birth again and again and again, because it's an identity. We are identifying as something. So, I'll continue. That stage of love, so Prabhupada says, for spiritual life, one must be elevated to the pure stage of love. That stage of love can be achieved by practice of devotional service performed with the present senses. So Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti is practice to purify the senses. It means we are following the Four Regulatory Principles, we eat Krishna Prasadam, and we do some service regularly. Whether we feel bored, tired of it, enthusiastic, we do not go according to the senses. We go according to, it's a duty. I'll do it, and on the days that I feel I don't want to do it, I do it because it's pleasing to somebody else. And somebody else is Krishna. And when that happens, this is a practice of putting me outside of the equation and Krishna is in the center. When I'm doing it for him, not for me. Like I said, it's a practice. And if we are lucky, we will get those challenges. Otherwise, we'll go on in a comfortable life, not really challenged. Then nothing really changes in our life. Nothing really happens. It continues like that. Done. So this love of God is now in a dormant state in everyone's heart. So love of God is revealed. We all have Krishna praying in our heart. But it's covered by so many desires from countless of lifetimes. It's covered. And that Krishna Prem is not imagined, it's real. So what we need in the beginning is a little faith. Everyone is born with faith. It's something we have to understand. It's a little bit three-dimensional. Faith is an element that we possess that is independent of our experience. Try to understand that. It's something real that we possess, that we choose to put how much faith, the intensity of faith, where we want to put it, and how much we want to put it. And it is independent of our experience. And that's the reason why sometimes we put faith again and again in things that fail. I think we must know that, or we know people who do that. Because we choose to put faith there. So in the beginning, we need to have some faith in the process, that it works. And we can see that it works. We know that it works. We just have to see Prabhupada's life. 70 years old, on a boat to America, 2 heart attacks. He almost dies. And he has a dream. And in this dream, he sees all the incarnations of Krishna in one of the safety boats. And he's sitting in that boat. And they are telling him, basically they're telling him, don't worry, we've got your back. He arrives in Boston. For 1 year, nothing happens. Then he goes to New York. He's got only maybe 2-3 followers. And they go to Tompkins Square Park. It's a park which is full of elm trees. He sits under a particular elm tree every Sunday. He starts to do kirtan only with a pair of cymbal of kartal and his 2-3 followers. And from there, he changes the course of history. So how can we not see that? How can we not have that faith? So we can, by seeing even Prabhupada, this is very contemporary to us, by seeing how Prabhupada started and changed the world. Try to think, 70 years old, and who were his followers? Young Americans who was 18. Bhagavani was 18. Ramananda was 19 or 20. But you could hardly understand his accent. They could hardly understand what he was talking about. But why did they follow him? It was the language of the soul. Chanting Hare Krishna is the language of the soul. And the whole shastra made sense. So by looking at that, we can have that faith. We can put faith in the process. So I'll quickly read the rest because I think 12:30 we end. Okay. And there, love of God is manifested in different ways. So love of God is dormant in everyone's heart and it's manifested in different ways, but it is contaminated by material association. Now the heart has to be purified of the material association, and that dormant natural love for Krishna has to be revived. That is the whole process. So when we come to the temple, like we're saying, we try to do something practical for Krishna. Just to start this process of a connection, a bonding with Krishna. To practice the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, one should, under the guidance of an expert spiritual master, follow certain principles. So Prabhupada is saying, one should rise early in the morning, take bath, enter the temple and offer prayers and chant Hare Krishna, then collect flowers to offer to the deity, cook foodstuffs to offer to the deity, take prasadam, and so on. So this is temple life. It has a structure. So like I said in the beginning, I joined a temple. It was very easy to actually follow that structure. You get up early in the morning, you engage in devotional practice. But for those living at home, it might be very, very hard. It's not that easy. So then you have to decide for yourself to go a little bit outside your comfort zone. If normally you get up at 6, try to get up at 5:45. And the 5:45, the 15 minutes, this is not for you. It's for you to practice.
Kirtan Adelaide. Leave a like and subscribe.